Hello everybody, Andy here from Glass Half Dead, the #1 kill team channel on the YouTube, and as of course you are aware of any other kill team channels, literally at all. As you can see behind me, we got Deathwatch out. You know what's coming, you saw it on the thumbnail. I'm going to start off by giving you kind of a little bit of a rundown of my thoughts of the team overall in general, but then we are just going to go through all of this. And the reason my models are here is because when I show you the model, I'm also going to put my model next to it to prove that I did hobby. And it took me so long. Okay, cool. Right, very first things first. Hey, you've never heard of Deathwatch before. What are they? They're the Special Operative Marines. They're the best of the best of the best, sir. If you want to quote Men in Black on that bad boy, if you're old like me. They are super cool. There you go. They are going to be exemplified by their individuality. And unlike in other loyalist Space Marine teams like Angels of Death, where you can take a model which is honestly pretty good at everything it does, in these ones, although you are still a Marine, so you are pretty good at everything you do, you have a specialist role on the battlefield, much like you get with the Heretic teams in Kill Team. So if you are taking the guy with the Xenophase Blade, and you end up for the whole game shooting his pistol, you've taken the wrong model. If you take the guy with the frag cannon and you end up meleeing for the whole game, you've taken the wrong model. Whereas with other Angels of Death teams, other loyalist Marine teams, you can kind of do whatever you need to do and you're pretty flexible. In this, that is not so much the case, doubly so because you are, of course, a 5-model team. Now we have ways to get around this, but if I had to think of the limiting factor for this team, it is the 5 models. Obviously, that is a pretty unique selling point for them. They have ways to make up for it, but if I had to critique it, when you are 5 models, there is the possibility that you just die. A melter gets you, and a melter will get you, and there's nothing you can do about it, okay? That will happen. Because of that, I think if you're looking at kind of overall thoughts on this team, really, this team is never going to be the absolute, 60% warp coven star win rate team, because they do not have the consistency across a long tournament. However, you could easily be the absolute terror at your local game store, winning every game you ever play. But yeah, there you go. That's what this team is. Okay, is there anything else to say about these guys? Their complexity level is a good thing to note. So when it comes to this team, in essence, they're very simple, right? You have strat ploys, which we'll cover in a moment, which can lower damage, or they can give you rerolls, and it's just there. It's a strat ploy. You could choose to do it or not do it, and that's how the team works. The guy with the big gun wants to shoot, the guy with the big sword wants to fight. That's pretty much the team. You have 1 or 2 tech pieces. You also need to decide whether or not you want to run Gravis at all, etc. But in general, this team isn't going to be the big brain team. Definitely not in the box. The Canoptech are much, much big brainier. But I do think that if you're a Marine player, this is going to be a good team, and I would have to go out on a limb and say that if you're looking to see this team's impact in the meta in general, I'm not saying this is the strongest elite team. However, I do think that this team beats all other elite teams. I really don't see how Raveners or AOD or Nemclaw work into this team. So there you go. So those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on the Deathwatch, and we can now start reading through the rules. But of course, before we get to the rules, we have to give a subscriber-only benefit. So if you're subscribed, this is for you, and that is a big double hello. Wow, so wholesome, truly the wholesomest knows no bounds in the world of Glass Half Dead. If you like that, just like, leave a comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you very much. And of course, hey, I've got affiliate links. If you want to buy Toon World, or you want to buy Deathwatch, you want to buy any Warhammer at all, click my affiliate link. I get a little kickback. It costs you nothing extra. I do Element Games and Whaling Games in the UK. I do Wargame Portal in the US. That'd be awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Oh, also, hey, if you're hyped for 2 World, guess what? I have been as well. I played a bunch of practice games. I've done some unboxings, etc., all over on my Patreon. And I'm going to be doing a rundown of those practice games so that my patrons can get a little bit more. And also do some tournament battle reports, etc., etc. Okay, right. With that said, let's get into the team, which means we need to shrink me. We don't need me on the screen. We go right there. I'm still here, but I'm small. Good. Okay, so first things first. This is a 10 operative, no, it's an 11 operative team. Let's get these off. I've crushed one of my guys. I'm thrilled. So it's an 11 operative team, of which in Toon World, you get 10 operatives. You can build one of each Gravis model. I just want to quickly throw it out here because you can see them both here. You can see the Bombard and you can see the Horde Slayer. These are identical models. Pick one of them, build it, and because you can only ever have one Gravis on the board at any time, all the Gravis can act as any other Gravis, but because you've got 2, build a Breacher and then build one of these 2, and it can be whichever one you want. Don't get weird about it. However, you have 5 operatives to pick, and note a very interesting thing, a first time, note that you don't have to pick the actual leader. He's keyworded leader, but you don't have to take him. You cannot take the Watch Sergeant if you want. Cool. Right. Also, there's Seek and Destroy and Security, which, of course, is a big deal. However, since we have all new approved ops, we can't really talk about them there just yet. If you want to know more about approved ops, tune in next Saturday where I'll be going through all the approved ops, and so you can then start figuring out what these mean in relation to them. Right, let's get into it. So the faction rules, we have Veteran Astartes. Right, you can double shoot or you can double fight, and that's very cool. There are a few, you know, if you're double shooting with one of the big weapons, then it costs an additional AP for the second shot. But do note, quite interestingly, that there's no, it doesn't have to be a bolt weapon, which I think is the first Astartes that can do that. So you can double shoot with a plasma pistol, for example, which is cool. Your special rule is then special issue. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the other very incredibly important thing is the next rule here, or the next part of Veteran Astartes, that defines the team. Each friendly Deathwatch operative can counteract regardless of its order. Whenever it does, it can perform an additional 1 AP action for free during that counteraction, but both actions must be different. So, if you've played Angels of Death, they have an ability called Angel's Wrath, something like that, which allows you to, one of them, once per turn, can do 2 actions for their counteract. So this whole team has that. This is brilliant. It means that you get to move your 2 inches, shoot, you can charge 2, fight. Super flexible. This means that when you're playing this team, you really have to set them up to be taking full advantage of all of your counteracts. There you go. Or of course, tap a point, move, tap a point, easy. Tap a point, run and hide. And of course you can, yeah. Right, and then your special issue ammunition. So once, let's be clear. I want to be really clear. I'm going to read it to you and then explain it. Once per turning point, when a friendly Deathwatch operative is performing the shoot action in the select weapon step, you can use this rule. If you do, select one of the blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I want to be super clear because this exact same wording, it occurs for the Nemesis Claw as well. And it's once per turn, one of your guys can do this. Cool. One guy per turn can do this. Once per turn, you get to do this. Okay? That's it. Super clear. It's not one of your guys once per their turn. No, it's the whole team gets to do this once. You could do pick Blast 1, Dev 1, Lethal 5, Piercing 1, Rending, Saturate, Severe for 1 shot. Now, I thought this was weird. When I first saw the team, I thought every shot was going to be special issue ammunition. It is not. It is once per turn. And as we go through, I think we will all notice and agree that the melee on this team is really solid. And so the fact that special issue ammunition is once per turn is quite strange. However, do note it can be used for anything. There's no restriction. So if you want to really hypercharge your frag cannon with lethal 5 or whatever, you can. Or you can just, you know, every single model has a pistol, even the guys that don't have it modeled on them. So that's cool. We then get to the strat ploys. Mission tactics is you select an enemy's order, which is either concealed or engaged, and then the whole team gets balanced if you attack an enemy with that order. Long Vigil is if you're being shot whilst you're within your territory, you can get balanced in defense. The Shield that Slays, if you are in the enemy territory, normal and crit damage of 4 or more, inflict 1 less damage. Super good, right? And then And They Shall Know No Fear, which is ignore injured. We then go to Firefight Ploys. Suffer Not the Alien. This means that if they are not Chaos or Imperium, you can reroll any or all of your attack dice. So obviously this is very, very niche, but hey, you know what? Nemclaw have if they're Imperium, and then if they're Astartes Imperium, so why not? This is your only, like, I've completely fluffed a roll, get out of jail card. It will cost you a CP, obviously. And it's obviously only into things that aren't Chaos or Imperium, which are, most things are Chaos or Imperium, to be clear. But yeah, so against Xenos, you do have a get out of jail card once per game. Well, once per turn, sorry, but yeah. You then get Auspicator Tracking, uses Firefight whenever any operative is counteracting. Before it performs any actions, you can change its order. So obviously this plays into your veteran Astartes as well. So hey, you've kept it nice and chilled. You're on conceal. Something happens during the turn. Boom. 1 CP, go loud. Very nice. Advanced Auspex Scan, you can, when you are shooting, you can get Saturate and remove Obscurity. So, and there is a way to get this for free if you take a specific model, which we'll get to when we get to that. But otherwise, you could just pay a CP for it. And then Transhuman Physiology, which is a roll defense dice step. You can retain one of your normals as a crit, which is nice. And then we get straight on to the dudes. Excellent. So let's start with the Deathwatch Sergeant. Here we go. Bam. Okay, sorry. Let's, what? Oh, what a Chad. Hell, phenomenal model. I made him Lamenters because I've always liked Lamenters, and if I'm honest, I like the colour yellow. So there we go. Obviously, you're looking at them, you think, Andy, Deathwatch are black. Not for me. These are my bone boys, the Tome Keepers. Fire. Okay, so that's so obviously he's just got a plasma pistol. It's a standard plasma pistol, nothing crazy about that. Always go hot. That's just the facts. And power weapon, 5 dice hitting on 3, 4, 6, lethal 5. There you go. Now he has adaptable armory, so you can take an additional equipment option, which is pretty good. And then strategic command. Once per game, you can both use a strap ploy for free and a firefight ploy for free. And I'm going to very, very quickly touch on what that means. No, I can't. The embargo is not lifted. I can't talk about what that means in the new. Let's just say that I think that's going to be a really cool ability that is going to make this guy almost a must-take when we consider the new approved ops. Let's just say that. There you go. Let's just say that. I think he's gang star. There you go. And he's obviously just a very good, solid, all-round dude. Oh, sorry, it should also be noted, everybody's 15 health because they're all veterans. And yes, he has the leader keyword, but he is not a mandatory pick. There you go. But yeah, we get to the Aegis Veteran. Let's take a look at our bad boy here. Wow, what a boner boy. Love it. I made him a scorpion because, I don't know. There you go. Oh, sorry. Also, hobby. This is the first time I've done a little bit more with a power weapon. I normally just do blue. Just do blue and a silver dry brush to make it look a little bit shimmery. But I tried to do a little something extra. I don't know if it really worked, but it's something. There you go. Okay. Right, so again, everyone has a bolt pistol. So you have a bolt pistol on your Aegis Veteran. You are a 2-up save because you have a shield. That is what shields do. And you have a Powder Maul and Storm Shield, 5 dice hitting on 3s, 4, 6, shock. Shield shock is when you strike with a crit. You also discard one of the enemy's normals, or if they don't have a normal, one of their crits. Shield you can block 2. You don't get a fight first with this, to be clear. You just get to block 2. And Storm Shield, whenever an operative is shooting this operative, worsen the X of the piercing weapon by 1. If any, note that piercing 1 would therefore be ignored. So again, another shield thing. If you're being shot by a melter or some such, worsen it. There you go. We then get the Deathwatch Blade Master Veteran. Boom. Again, I tried to do a little something with the Xenophase Blade. Just, you know, make it do something, right? These two share a pose. I will talk about, should I talk about a default team? Very quickly at the end, if I recall, I'll do that, but I will forget. There you go. So Xenophase Blade. So this is an interesting one. This is our first true sweep, which we've seen, and I really like it. So basically, you're a power weapon. Okay, you're 5 dice hitting on 3s, 4/6, brutal, lethal 5. Yeah, obviously brutal is good. That means that you can only be blocked by a crit. However, you have a couple of things. So you have adaptive swordsmanship. You can ignore any changes to the hit stat of this operative's Xenophase Blade. Whenever this operative is fighting or retaliating, you can resolve one of your successes before the normal order. If you do, that success must be used to block. So this is, I like to call this a fights first, but it's not really. It's a block first, but it means you get to take the first action, okay? Being able to block first is very useful. The chances of your opponent only rolling one hit is slim, but it's, hey, it could still happen. We then get the phase sweep. Now I'm going to read, not going to read the whole of the phase sweep. Let me tell you what it does very roughly. So you have to use the worst profile. So you are 4 dice, brutal, lethal 5, phase sweep. So you're 1 less dice when you do this. However, what you get to do is keep on fighting as long as you want, as many times as you want, into every model around your model. Every model, you can't fight into them multiple times. So but if you have 10 models around you, you can fight 10 times. Or you can fight twice and say, I've lost too much health, I'm not going to fight again. So there's no restriction to you really, but you can't fight the same guy twice, but you just get to keep hacking them away. Of course, simulating the idea that you are, in big 40k style, just a sweep. You just get your massive sword, you do a big swing all around you. 360 no scope with the Xenophase Blade there. Very cool. Cool, right. And don't forget that you still get to block first. Cool, right. Deathwatch Bombard Veteran. This is, the Bombard is your frag cannon. Here we go. What a beast. What a beast. I know what you're thinking. Damn, Andy. These guys are so cool. Why didn't we see them on Warcom? Didn't get the email. They didn't ask. Otherwise, they definitely would have. Note, of course, that a Gravis here is 18 wounds, which is strange because Gravis are normally 18 wounds. The fact that they're not 19 is strange. I agree. So you get a bolt pistol, and then you get a frag cannon. You can do a shell or shrapnel. Shell, 4 dice, hitting on 3s, 5/7, piercing 1. Oof, oof. But 7 on range is very good, right? Then you get frag cannon, shrapnel, 5 dice, hitting on 3s, 4/5, torrent 2. That's still good. Torrent, I rarely get good luck with torrent, I'm going to be honest. However, don't forget that you can use your special issue ammunition. You want to make all of this lethal 5? You literally can. Literally can. So do. There you go. You want to guarantee that 7? You're killing something. This is, in essence, a long-range melter. In essence. As in, not. It's not. But in essence. We then get the Breacher Veteran. Here we go. Made my man Dark Angels here. So I gave him the Dark Angels hood, obviously. Very nice. Now this is an interesting one, of course. We know that in Tomb World, we are going to have to be able to breach doors, which means you can breach them for 1 AP instead of 2. So he does have a melter bomb. Let's go over it. So you have an auxiliary grenade launcher that can do a frag and a crack. That's just standard. You know that from AOD. Nothing special there. Except you can, of course, special issue ammunition. You then get the Hellstorm Bolt Rifle, which is basically a worse heavy bolter. So it's 4 dice hitting on 3s, 4/5, torrent 1, instead of 5 dice. But then you get his Melter Bomb, which is 4 dice hitting on 3s, 5/3, range 3, dev 3, so in essence it's 5/6. Reposition only, limited 1, piercing 2. So you can throw this once. Note that you have a 5-inch move. This means that obviously we're going to be thinking a lot about how to get this guy up the board. A very common tactic, in case you don't know, is to be running the portable barricade. It only lowers your movement by 1 now. It used to be nothing because you were a 4-inch move, but now you're a 5 move. So you pick that up, you're so durable at that point. You'll be retaining because you've got cover, and you're saving on 2s. Like, really strong, really strong. We then get the Demolisher Veteran. Where's he? Hammerman, here we go. That's right. Oh, yeah. I think he's the Brazen Skulls, which is a colour I couldn't really see, so I just kind of went for it with the shoulder pad there. And again, energy, energy Thunderhammer. So I tried to do the same kind of thing I did with the power weapons and make it a power hammer. I don't know. I did what I did. There you go. This is a really interesting guy. So first things first, let's look at the negative. He's hitting on 4s. 5 dice hitting on 4s, 6, 7, shock, stun. In case you don't know, shock is that when you crit, they're -1 APL. Stun, no, I've said it the wrong way around. That's stun. Shock, as already discussed, is if you crit, you parry one of their things. I'm just saying, that's pretty solid. Hitting on 4 sucks. I understand that. But if this guy, if you need something dead, this is the guy, right? And he has more. Brutal Assault. Whenever this operative is fighting, its Heavy Thunder Hammer has the brutal weapon rule. Cool. Whenever this operative performs the charge action, its Heavy Thunder Hammer has the ceaseless weapon rule until the end of the activation or counteract. So you can have brutal, so you're just guaranteed to get those massive crits through. Although, who do you need that on? Who do you need the massive crits on? You're a 6/7 weapon, right? But when you charge, you get ceaseless, which is good because you're going to need it because you've got 4s. 4s are not great. You then get the Deathwatch. Oh, sorry, and his aggressive force, right? The best thing about him, sorry. Whenever this operative is fighting or retaliating, so if you're ever in melee, subtract 1 from both damage stats to the weapons the enemy operative in that sequence has to a minimum of 2, which means, to be clear, that stacks with the shield that slays. So yes, this guy in melee is -2 damage. Outrageous. Right, we then get the Deathwatch Disruptor Veteran, who's our man over here. Here we go. Oh yeah. What a boy. God damn. The lighting is really making these guys pimped today. You know when you're taking a mirror selfie, you got that down lighting, it's looking hell yeah, that's these guys today. That's these guys today. So Phobos, you're 13 wounds, which again is a Phobos, which is normally 12, you're 13, makes sense. You have a marksman bolt carbine, 4 dice hitting on 3 to 3, 4, lethal 5. That's right, it's just a normal bolt carbine. You don't have knives, you've just got fists. Yeah, this guy you're not taking for the offensive capability, you're taking for these next 2 bits. So you have an advanced Omni Scrambler, which means if the enemy is visible to or within 6, you can roll a d6, and then that enemy operative cannot be activated for that many activations. You then also have Auspex Triangulation. This is the advanced Auspex Scan Firefight Ploy, costs you 0 CP when both of the following are true. This operative isn't within control range of an enemy operative, and the target of that shoot action, primary target, irrelevant, is visible to this operative. Note, this doesn't have to be the operative performing the shoot action. So what that means is that if this guy can see the enemy, then you can use that 1 CP ploy for free. I mentioned it when we were looking through the firefight ploys. This is the guy that lets you do that. So that is good. Now, this is good. And again, it's possible that going into the future, ways to save CP are good. Oh, sorry, in case you forgot. This ploy means it's remove obscurity and you get saturate, so remove the cover save. But we all know how important being able to stop the enemy's alpha strike, or like obvious first thing is being able to block for a certain number of actions is incredibly useful. There you go. Nice. And then we get the Deathwatch Gunner Veteran, who is our man here. There you go. Oh yeah. That's the stuff. This guy's not looking quite as good as the others, but it's fine. He's learning. He's chill. It's fine. He's got that one. I just wanted to use molded shoulder pads for all of them. Honestly, I would have rather made them all just like the core chapters, but they didn't give us any of those pads, which is really annoying. So, bolt pistol again. I don't know why you would ever shoot the bolt pistol, actually, because... Oh, no. Yes, I do. Because this is one of the guns where if you want to shoot it twice, the second shot has to be 2 AP. So, with this guy, you could shoot with the heavy and then still shoot again with the bolt pistol, even if you've moved or something first. There you go. So, your heavy plasma incinerator as a standard shot is 5 dice, hitting on 3s, 4, 6, piercing 1. Guys, that's a pretty damn good shot, I'm not going to lie. Your supercharged shot is 5 dice, hitting on 3s, 5, 6, lethal 5, piercing 1. So this is what we'd expect from a plasma weapon. Jolly good. There we go. Now, I suppose, do we need to say anything else about it? Not really. It's just a Chad. Yeah. Just a Chad. Very good. So that's our Gunner Veteran. You've really got to start asking yourself the question, when am I taking the Gunner Veteran versus the Breacher Veteran or the Bombard or anybody, right? Like, it's tough. When are you taking the different models? That's the question we all need to start asking ourselves. And then get the Head Taker Veteran. This guy is... I'm a big fan of this guy. I'm not a big fan of the durability loss that taking a Phobos, like those 2 wounds help. Those 2 wounds help, you know. Again, the little power swords, I tried a thing. What do you think of the thing? Clearly I've forgotten to do this guy's angel wings. That's fine, whatever. Right, special issue bolt pistol, 4 dice hitting on 3s, 3, 4, range 8, piercing 1. And combat knives, 5 dice hitting on 3s, 4, 5. So that's the standard chainsword profile we expect. You have grav, shoot, and grapnel launcher. Whenever this operative is climbing, treat the vertical distance as 2 inches, regardless of how far the operative actually moves vertically. Whenever this operative is dropping, ignore the vertical distance. That's fine. If I'm honest, I would quite like to see grav shoots buffed. And well, grapnel launchers buffed, I guess, so that you can, you know, move for 1 inch, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, right, cool, fine. When they get clandestine Head Taker. Now this is big. This operative can perform the charge action while it has a conceal order. That alone is very strong. Okay, that's very good. It means you can charge up, smash, done. However, it continues. And then be safe after you fought, to be clear. Whenever this operative is fighting against an operative it wasn't visible to at the start of the activation counteraction, the first time you strike during that sequence, you can immediately resolve another of your successes as a strike before your opponent. That's right, you get to double hit. That's so good. And because it's only after you charge, right? Well, whenever it's fighting. Yeah, I mean, logically, you would have had to have charged for this to occur. You get to double hit. That means minimum you hit for 8 first. Before the enemy gets to do anything. 8 damage. Done. Possibly 10. Just pop, pop. Dead. Really strong. And then get the Deathwatch Horde Slayer Veteran. This is the Gravis I did not build. But I guess I'll put him back there. Because again, if I were to ever run the Horde Slayer Veteran, this is the heavy guy I built. I will just use him. That's fine. So, bolt pistol again, because of course these are the heavy guns. If you want to shoot twice, you have to spend 2 AP to shoot the second time with these big guns. You get the Infernus Heavy Bolter Flamer. 5 dice hitting on 2s, 3-3, range 8, saturate, torrent 2. Pass. If this was 4-4, maybe, but 3-3? Nah, I'm never shooting this. Infernus Heavy Bolter, Focus Bolt. 5 dice hitting on 3s, 4-5, piercing crits 1. Sweeping Bolt, 4 dice hitting on 3s, 4-5, piercing crits 1, torrent 1. If I'm honest, I don't think I'm ever taking this guy. Yeah, there you go. All of them are a question of when am I taking this over anything else. And I genuinely think that this guy is the thing you don't take. Unless I made a mistake. Let's take a look at the Bombard again, sorry. No, the Bombard still gets a bolt pistol. I don't know. I feel this is the guy you don't take. Yeah. There you go. I'm sure there is a reason where at some point he is statistically the best operative to take, but I just don't think I would. There you go. And then we get the Deathwatch Marksman Veteran, which is the guy over here. Now this is the most I am a normal intercessor guy that you have on your team. And sure enough, if he didn't have a silver arm, nobody would suspect that this is not just a normal intercessor. You might be wondering, oh, what's up with all of their heads? Yeah, I replaced all of their heads with Reaver Phobos heads. So I thought that was fun. That was an idea I stole from another content creator, Ryan from Turning Point Tactics. But yeah, there you go. Unless their head there was a reason for it, like this guy. He's a comms. He needs the comms head. Obviously, the Gravis can't do it. And I wanted my actual watch sergeant, my leader, to have the only tactical head there. Everybody else is on a Reaver's Phobos head for funsies, because it's cool. There you go. Right, so what's this guy doing? So Stalker Bolt Rifle Mobile, so standard bolter, cool. Stalker Bolt Rifle Heavy. It's heavy dash only. It's 4 dice hitting on 2s, 3-5, lethal 5, piercing crits 1. So really this is piercing 1, let's be honest. And that 5 damage as a crit is actually pretty solid, I've got to be honest. But he then has an ability. This operative can perform the guard action in any kill zone. Additionally, when using the close quarters rules once per turning point, after this operative performs a free shoot action on guard, it can immediately perform a free guard action. However, if it does, it cannot counteract, nor guard twice if it's counteracted. So, this guy, to me, to my mind, is kind of... I've used him in 2 games now, and I'm sure there's a better way to use him, but I like him. I like being able to guard. I've said it before, I think there's a version of Kill Team where guard is just a default ability anybody can do, and I actually quite like it. And then this guy gets a bonus where he can guard twice on Into the Dark. I should stop calling it that, shouldn't I? Tomb World. We're all going to be playing Tomb World now. He can guard twice on Tomb World. It's very cool. I really like him. However, that 3-5 is not great. Despite how much I've enjoyed playing him, I don't think he's regularly been good for me. I don't think he's been the best pick. I think I would have gotten more mileage out of one of the other models. We then, of course, get the marker token guide. Cool. And let's go over the faction equipment, and then we have a quick talk about the idea of a one-box team. And a default picks. So ammunition reserve, this allows you to once per game use your special issue ammunition twice in a turn. You then get the Sanctus V Bioscryer cuffs. Before each friendly operative's activation, before or after it performs an action, or sorry, once during each friendly operative's activation, before or after it performs an action. If it's not within control range of enemy operatives, you can use this rule. Heal D3, remove any changes to its APL stat, and then remove one of the status effects, neutron fragment, poison, and terrachem. So something I've just realized as I've read it, do note that you cannot use this when you're in control range of an enemy. So if you're in the thick of it as one of your melees and you're hiding in melee, you can't do this, which is actually quite a nerf to how I played it before. You then get digital weapons once per turning point whenever you fight. Once per turning point when you fight, or whenever you fight, you can deal 1 damage. There you go. Just the start of the roll, before any dice are rolled, you just deal 1 damage. This sounds fun, but it's 1 damage per turn. Okay, that's all that's happening here. It's not great, actually, and you've got to really ask yourself, when do I need 1 damage per turn? What does that actually give me, and what could I take instead? This is the first thing you should drop. Guys, I get it. Having an extra damage is nice, but this isn't +1 damage on everybody. This isn't +1 damage the first time you fight. This is 1 damage a turn, and you're not going to fight turn 1, so it's 3 damage over the whole game. When do you need this? When do you need 1 damage? What is the break point that this has occurred where you want 1 damage? The answer is almost never. It's a fine default pick, to be clear. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's also the first thing you get rid of. If you find yourself thinking, oh, into this match, I normally take smokes, or I normally take frags. Take the smokes, take the frags. That's fine. Drop the digi weapons. Cool. And then we get the Scrutivore servo thrall, perform a mission action for 1 AP. There you go. Oh, it's for free. Sorry, a 1 AP. Let me read it, because 2 AP actions exist now, so let's get it right. Once per turning point during a friendly Deathwatch operative's activation, you can use this rule. If you do during their activation, that operative can perform a mission action for 1 less AP. But there's more, which is good. Having an enemy operative within its control range doesn't prevent that friendly operative from performing that mission action. However, in such an instance, after it does so, you and your opponent roll off. If your opponent wins, you cannot use this equipment for the rest of the battle. Now, Let's be clear. A Marine team having a poach ability, a sneaky point tap, is very nice. Don't get me wrong. You are normally going to have control of an objective if you are on it. You still have to control it, but if the enemy is trying to tie you up by throwing a little mook at you that's only 2 AP, but they know that you don't have the AP to kill tap, or that would then slow them down elsewhere, you would get the kill first. Or, yeah, there you go. And that's the faction equipment. Let's have a quick contemplation of, that's the rules for the team. I want to very quickly talk about the idea of a one-box kill team. So obviously in Tomb World, we are getting 10 models, okay? And that's fine. However, from what we've seen so far of the teams, of the sprues, etc., it looks like in 3 months' time, when the Deathwatch team is released, this is a box. You get 5 models in your box. We are getting 2 full kill teams of Deathwatch in Tomb World. That's how this is working. So when you buy in the future, this is not about Tomb World. For Tomb World, you've got your team. It's fine. If you're new to Kill Team, you're new to Space Marines, you don't have loads lying around, and you buy your Deathwatch, and you've watched all of this, and you're wondering why I'm not having to talk about default loadouts, etc. That's why, because Tomb World came with 10, which is 2 full teams. The best bet, I've already done a video on it, where you want to get your Deathwatch, build your 5, and then you don't need another 5 Deathwatch, you just need 5 bodies, okay? That's how that works. And you can get them in various different ways, and you make them look cool or not. Cool. Now, and this is something for you guys to consider and leave a comment if you think I'm right or wrong here, but I think that this here is kind of a default pick. So if you're sat there and you're saying, I'm going to build my first 5 models, or I've only got 5 models to build, Andy, help me, which 5 do I build? I think you pick the Watch Sergeant, and then you have to build a Breacher. You have to build a Gravis and a Phobos, right? So of that, you want to build the Breacher, I think. Although the Frag Cannon's good, yo. Anyway, but I'd probably go Breacher. He has a little bit more utility. I think you got to go the Aegis. Being able to double block is super, super good. It makes him such a defensive dude. I'd say that's a mandatory one. Keeping in mind, I am picking these correctly. So the options are, to be clear, it's not any 5. You have the Watch Sergeant or the Xenophase Blade. I think you go Watch Sergeant. Any 2 Gravis, I think you go Breacher. Then we come on to this body, which is a shield or a demolisher. I think you go shield. Don't get me wrong, this guy's cool. I like this guy. I want to run him, but a shield is probably just better for you. You are a team that if you fluff a roll, you die and you lose the game. Having something that gets more durability is better. And this guy hits on 4s, and that's real rough. You then get your gunner operative. You can choose a marksman or you can choose the plasma. This is a tough one. I have not yet played the heavy plasma. I think that the utility of the guard action is stronger than the plasma. However, I will probably say, you know what? Into other Marine teams, I think the plasma is the better pick, but I would go with the utility of that. And then your final option has to be a Phobos body. Ooh, I love this guy. I love the head taker. I love that I can charge for conceal, and that if I shut and that I can double hit. That is amazing. However, go watch any other good players breakdown of these. I guarantee they tell you that this is the guy you pick. He saves you CP, which is incredibly important, and he's got the action denial. If the enemy moves up that melter, you need to be able to stop that one-shot ability they have. That is mandatory for this team. So I think that the tech of this guy wins out over the coolness of the other guy, which means I think that this here is the default team. If you don't know what you're doing and you have 5 models, I think you pick these 5. There you go. Right, and let's embiggen ourselves quickly. Boom! There you go, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a long one because I decided to go through a full Man Reads book on it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you managed to tune in and check out my sweet AF hobby, as foretold is what AF stands for, in case you're wondering. Thanks for watching. Hey, check out all the other content I've done. I've done kind of a review overview of the whole box, kind of summarizing everything. I've also done the Canoptech side of the box in exactly the same format as this. And I've got some more stuff releasing throughout the week, and next Saturday do check out my approved ops review, which will obviously give a little bit of extra context into how you can play certain teams going forwards. That's going to be a big one for everybody, of course. And hey, once again, if you made it to the end of the video, I'd like to give you a big triple hello. Wow, so wholesome in the world of Glass Half Dead. The wholesomeness truly knows no bounds. That is a present from me to you just for making it to the end of the video. Very genuinely. For a small YouTuber like me, the best thing you can do is just watch the whole of the video. Thank you so much. If you do want to check out my Patreon, I've done a whole bunch of other things. I've done an unboxing and other stuff for this that's only going up there, and also chatting about my first 2 games, blah, blah, blah. And also I just generally do like tournament reports and other stuff over there. And just rambles all the time, to be honest with you. Yeah, cool. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Check out my other stuff. Don't forget my affiliate links. Thank you.